As I talk to entrepreneurs and many investors, particularly about hardware and electronics, I come across a lot of incomplete understandings and a lot of kind of incorrect understandings. So after 20 years in this industry, I wanted to lend my perspective on what I've seen. A lot of people draw parallels between the advent of the PC and what's going on in electronics, and I think that's certainly a good starting point. So let's start there. You know, as many are familiar with, computers, 1979, this is an oversimplified diagram, but, you have a very vertically integrated, IBM that's really the dominant company. On the left chart is your functions, so dollars flow from the top to the bottom, from all the way to sales and customers down to R&D functions. And so above you is your customers, below you are your vendors, and then to your left and your right are your competitors. Okay, so 79, we know this. What happens over a period of 5 years? There we are. Well, two things happen. One, these supply chains become really fragmented, and this is really crucial because these areas where you can insert yourself are the ideal place for entrepreneurs, probably a lot of types of businesses, to enter these supply chains. Because this means you can focus on what you do well without having to compete with this broad range of services from somebody who's presumably entrenched and does a lot of those range of services better. So that got separated, from Microsoft's historic meeting with IBM to sell their operating system to others, which allowed Dell, let's focus on that little orange corner, Dell, just to do its thing and do integration and sales, down to Intel's x86 standard, to other bus standards and stuff that allowed various peripherals and accessory manufacturers to enter the space. Second thing that happened was, forget the causation, but all of a sudden there was a new market opening up of small companies and individuals, which meant that Dell didn't have to do all the big stuff of the sales and marketing, sales force, and support network that a big company would need. Okay, we know the revolutionary impact of this supply chain. Let's take a look at electronics. Electronics in 79 looks somewhat similar. I mean, you've got, these vertical, long entrenched folks, Zenith and RCA, who, invented the radio, the remote control, pay TV. They're selling through retailers, but, all the way from R&D to engineering, a very vertically integrated system. That supply chain changes over the next 25 years, but in some fairly different ways. Well, there was no historic Microsoft meeting, but there's a lot of, there's a lot of areas where this didn't get separated in quite the same way. What did happen instead is that we went, yes, from analog to digital, so now you have some digital semiconductor manufacturers, but equally important, in the late 70s, early 80s, Deng Xiaoping opened up China and Taiwanese firms started to rise, and you had the rise of these ODM firms, these Asian firms that do design and manufacturing and have a whole vertically integrated kind of ecosystem and infrastructure that you see in the south of China and Taipei and various other places. And this goes as far as the eye can see. There's tons and tons of these manufacturers, and what essentially happened was very difficult for not just entrepreneurs, but even entrenched companies to compete with them because they were so efficient and there were so many of them that they were just, brutally competitive. And what happened is many of these entrenched verticals retreated to become just brands, just sales and marketing. Zenith ultimately getting acquired by LG as a pure brand. And then there were a few others who went, the way of TI to focus on silicon and IP, and then you continue to sell through big retail. But so while there's some kind of innovation and entrepreneurship, it's really at the sales and marketing level of putting together these finished products that these ODMs are doing. And that's the way this industry was for 25 some years. So here we are again, and 2005, really five years, it starts to change. What happens? Well, there's a number of things that start to break up this system. Android is a very important one. Alibaba is another one. You have Arduino. There's a whole host of kind of different open source pieces of software and stuff that happen. And that really breaks up the supply chain. Supply chain forms around that, as they always do. And all of a sudden, you have, as you had 30 years ago with PCs, the opportunity to have some very focused little companies. Sonar is one of them. So a lot of people ask, well, are you a hardware company, are you a software company? That's really less the issue. I mean, we sell intellectual property, we sell reference designs so you can build accessories. But the real point is, what functions do we take on? Where are we focused on that we believe we're better at? And what functions are we focused to take on? Well, unlike, even 5 years ago, we don't have to take on this broad range of competitors. Today, we piggyback on those and we build our IP and our solutions. We focus on our innovation community and that stuff. And we can do so today directly to early adopters. From Kickstarter to eBay, Amazon, all the direct sales, the community tools. We don't have to have the full range of services. And as I said previously, above us are our customers. So here we have a very well-suited supply chain that's very efficient and effective for delivering to mainstream customers. That's available for us to plug into because we provide innovative solutions. So this is, as dramatic a change as you can see. And if you look, electronics is a broad spectrum. There's lots of different types of electronics. But if you look throughout many, many different areas, you'll see that this phenomenon of breaking up into new segments is something that's happened really over the last 5 years. I predict is potentially big an impact on this industry, which is even bigger than computers, as many people have pointed out, as what happened in 82 in the early 80s with the PC had on computers. So there you have it.